I'd like to repeat the inyonim that happened around the siyum, the finishing of the Sefer Torah, the Kabbalah's Pnei Moshiach Sefer Torah. And even though everyone knows all the things about it, and even though so much was written about it, even when the Maimer was given out, that the Rebbe said by that Fabrengen, Tovshim Memvov, the Maimer was given out, in the back of the Maimer and the Kuntres, they printed the whole Skira Ksora, which means an overview on what happened concerning the union of Mashiach Sefer Torah. And then later it's printed in Teras Menachem, the volume Nun Tes. Nevertheless, I would like to tell over the things around it, and also the way everyone has a different way of looking at it, so the way I saw the unionim that were happening. We all know that the Frierdiker Rebbe, in the Fabrengen of Leil Simchas Torah, Tovshim Beis, the Fabrengen before Akofes, the Frierdiker Rebbe announced that he decided that we should write a Sefer Torah, the Kabbalah's Pnei Mashiach, that we will use to be Makabel Ponim to receive Mashiach when Mashiach comes. And he said that Be'emes, he is able to pay for the whole thing, but he wants to be Mezaki other people. But Mele, everyone should buy an os in that Sefer Torah. And he appointed Avad, the committee that should run it, headed by Harav Simpson, Rebbe Eli Simpson, and they should take care of making sure of the inyonim should happen. Lepeil, it started on Beis Ear, that's when they started writing, and it started bechashoyi, it wasn't bepirsim, it wasn't in public, but that's when it started. And the Sefer Torah was written, and it was almost finished, and they left over a few lines at the end, like we always do by writing a Sefer Torah, they leave over for the siyum. The Sefer with Reb Shmaya Factor, and he wrote the Sefer Torah, and it was left over the last few lines. The fact is, it was never finished. It wasn't finished then, and maybe there are people who know the reason. I don't know the reason why it wasn't finished. That Sefer Torah was put away as is, without being finished. The last few lines put away, was laying in the room of Reb Shmuel Levitner 70. We know the room that now is used for the Yichud room after a Chasana, after a Chuppah. That was known as Reb Shmuel's room. There is a shafet. There is like a closet. That in that closet the Sefer Torah was laying, locked up. And we all knew this was like a mysterious thing. There was a holy thing. We know that in this closet is laying the Sefer Torah. No one knew the details about it, but it was known that this is, and it was something that beyond us. We didn't know what it is, what about, and it's Mashiach Sefer Torah. I even remember once I noticed that somehow that door of that closet was open, and I happened to see it. So I saw the Sefer Torah inside. I didn't see the Sefer Torah, but I saw the outline of the Sefer Torah covered with thick brown paper. And that's where it was laying for all these years. From Tovshin Beis, when it was started and almost finished, till around the end of Tevis time, Tovshin Lamed. I remember at the end of Tevis, we saw some activity taking place in the gate of the Sefer Torah. We saw the Sefer Torah being taken out, and somebody was magei it. I remember those days, I happened to walk by in the back of 770, and the window there is to this room, and I saw Rabbi Zirkin sitting and being magid the Sefer Torah. This made such an impression that something is happening. It's Tovshin Lamed, and something is happening with Mashiach Sefer Torah. Till came to Shabbos Parshas Va'era Gimel Shvat, the Rebbe spoke about it. And the Rebbe said, now the time has come for us to finish Mashiach Sefer Torah. And the Rebbe said that this is Seder, is that we should finish Mashiach Sefer Torah, came from Eretz Yisrael. Some say it was even a woman who wrote this letter to the Rebbe. The Rebbe even complained why nobody here in New York thought of being Me'era that we should finish the Sefer Torah. And he said, I found the reason for it, because the expression goes, Arum dem Yam is truken, around the ocean it's dry. Here it's around the ocean. Here is the center. Here is where Lubavitch is. This is the ocean. And around the ocean is dry. And B'meila, therefore, people didn't realize that we have to be Me'erer. But then the Rebbe said, but even the dryness has a shear. So dry that people shouldn't even think of it. But anyway, the Rebbe said that we're going to finish the Sefer Torah now, and he said that Vad that was appointed by the Frierdiker Rebbe should be appointed now too. They should continue. They should be the Vad now. And he said people should now start again buying letters to the Sefer Torah. And he explained it doesn't mean a letter, because all the letters were sold already in Tovshin Beis. But those letters which are left over, everybody could participate by buying a share in those letters. And he said those that bought earlier then don't have to buy again, but those that were not born, didn't buy then, or were not born then, they should buy now. And the Rebbe said that it'll be written for the shame all these people who buy, and even those people who don't know about it and they're going to buy after it'll be finished. When we'll be finishing it, it'll be for them too. Like it says by Machzis HaShekel, that when they brought the korbanos with the money for the Machzis HaShekel, they also included l'shem those that didn't pay till after it started already, because there's also al ha'osid ligves. And the Rebbe said that since the Vad is here, Rabbi Simpson was there by the Fabrengen, that he should announce the time when people will be able to come to 770 and buy the letter, and he made forms that people should be able to sign up and have a shtafetz in the letter. Now this thing that the Rebbe said then made such a hiseiris by Anash, by Lubavitch, and brought such a bitochen and amun in the inyonim of Moshiach. Why specifically? Not only because we're finishing Moshiach Sefer Torah, which showed, okay, so we're going to be using it soon, so Moshiach is coming very soon because of this, but besides that, yet Tovshin Yud already, the Rebbe said, that the Friedrich Rebbe said once, B'yom of Yi Adover Hazeh, that Moshiach will come in his lifetime. But now, there was Yuchvat, there was the Istalkis, so what's the Pshat? So the Rebbe brought the Yerushalmi, where it says that by Shimshon we see that even 20 years after his Istalkis, it's still called B'yomov. So the Rebbe said that Loshen. So everyone was under the impression that by 20 years after Yuchvat, Mashiach will come, because till 20 years it's still it's B'yomov, and that's what the Friedrich Rebbe said. So now that it's getting to the 20 years to Yuchvat Tovshin Lamed, and we're finishing Mashiach Sefer Torah, it has brought such a hiseiris by the people that everyone was sure that Mashiach is coming now. That means people were 100% sure more than the hiseiris in later years. We know Tovshinun, all of those years, there was such a hiseiris. The Rebbe spoke so strongly about Mashiach, and everyone was sure Mashiach is coming now. It doesn't come to the feeling that Anash, the Bochrim, Anash, the Tmimim, and all other people around who were part of it, who heard about it, were so sure that this is the time, now is the time for Mashiach to come. People went around to get people to sign up, to buy the Shtatvis and the letters for the Sefer Torah, because they knew this is negate to the coming of Mashiach. I remember myself, I used to give a shir in Chassidus to Talmidim, Bochrim of RJJ. I didn't do it in the yeshiva, but I did it across the street. There was a old age home called Beis Tem Chateira V'Zikna Yisrael. So the Bochrim would come, about 20, 30 Bochrim would come from the yeshiva, I give a shir. But I never walked into the yeshiva. But this time, that week, after the shir, I walked into the yeshiva, and I spoke to Bochrim, I spoke to Yungalai, telling him, you must buy leather now, because Mashiach is coming soon, and we have to have the Sefer Torah. Then, since this is in the east side, I went over also to Yeshiva Tiferes Yerushalayim, and there were Bochrim and Yungalai there too, and I spoke to them, and I told them, you should buy letters. I walked around, and I noticed some people behind my back were even laughing, smiling. So I walked over to them, and I said, now you're laughing, but wait, in 1 week you'll see what's going to happen. You'll see Mashiach will be here, so I think here's your chance now. That's how ogilikt it was that Mashiach is coming now. But in the beginning, we didn't know yet when the Siyum was going to be, but when it got closer to Yud Shvat, the Rebbe gave over that the Siyum is going to be Erev Shabbos of Yud Shvat. Yud Shvat was Shabbos, Erev Shabbos, which is Teshvat. And there was Takef Abrengen and the Siyum, as I will explain in the next broadcast.